Hi, I'm Diane McGarry with Dragett Arts. With me today are co-host Tom McGarry and ASL interpreter Gay Joyner. Gay has been our interpreter for many programs and Art Saturdays, and she has graciously agreed to talk a bit about the deaf community with us. We are really excited about this, Gay. Thank you so much.
Well, you're very welcome. I have enjoyed listening to all the different arts programs and the authors and the stories. And this has just been, and the kids' programs and competitions. I, I want, and I am not the expert. Okay, I am going to say that I am not the expert on deaf art, but I just felt like you needed to know a little bit more about the deaf community and the deaf artists and how that comes out and what it looks like. So I think I sent you a few pictures and I'll let you post those and we'll talk about those um, as you have them up. Um, because I picked two artists. Um, one is Nancy Rourke,
Is this hers or is
and
this the other
this is
person?
hers.
Oh,
This is
cool.
Nancy's. She is a very famous uh, deaf artist. And this one specifically is, let me get the title right. This one is called, oh, this one is called the dinner table
Huh.
syndrome. If you notice, deaf artists will often draw things about eyes, about hands, because they receive their information visually.
Mhm.
They communicate with their hands, obviously. But this one specifically spoke to me because if you, many people that are deaf and have hearing families will often have what is called the dinner table syndrome.
Huh.
It happens at holidays, especially Thanksgiving, Christmas. And what's happening here is you will see the people around them talking, but they don't sign.
Ah,
So the deaf person is sitting there just wondering what's happening. And that is a lot of feeling that deaf people have. Now, um, Nancy, Nancy Rourke, she is the one that drew this. And um, let's see, she had,
so that's why all the mouths are so big.
correct.
And what is the sign on the back board there in the blue?
It's her hands are I love yous. That's
Ah,
it's a universal sign for ASL. It's I love you. So in this, it basically says that the theme is about how deaf people are commonly left out during holiday gatherings and unable to follow what people are discussing. The category of this painting is the resistance that they have, which means that she is telling the truth about discrimination that deaf people face. They face it every day. The painting has 11 motifs, such as the table, the wallpaper, the blue tapes, um, the hands, the ears. I can't sign and talk to the mouth, the maze. There's DNA. There's the black hole in the middle, and
oh,
then there's several missing puzzle pieces. Now, Nancy is also a political activist, and she makes political statements through her art, such as social justice, activism, human rights, and deaf solidarity. So that's one of her things, and I'm using phrases from her website. So I'm not creating this myself. This is her words. Um,
no, she is really clearly isolated in this painting.
Very isolated. But she has also been um, known for the phrase Rourkeism, Rourkeism, Rourke. workism. But that also shows the styling content of um, her art. So I'll let you
What's
put up the next piece.
okay,
Oh,
what's
I'm sorry, Diane, you had a question.
no, no, I was gonna say, what's Rourkeism?
That's her last name,
Oh,
but
oh,
that's
oh,
her,
okay.
to show
I'm sorry.
um, her
Her style,
feelings and her style, right? Workism. And this one was also, let me find it.
write, read, study,
Right.
wait,
This one, I'm trying to find the name of it. Um,
and art. Yeah.
okay, this one is about the deaf schools and the deaf students, how they learn to read and write. They draw and study. Um, that is, and it just says that they work together to learn a lot about the world. The deaf students are a closely knit family
Mm.
because many of them grow up in a school for the deaf, and most of them are residential schools. But in this painting, she has hand palms in black and white, um, and all are the same, and add sign language, read, write, art, and study. And it overlaps each other, meaning representing the close knitness of the school and the community itself.
So
Um,
the red hand on top of where it says right, that's a sign for right.
that is the sign for write.
And so the
Correct.
hand,
So she's writing. The the blue with the red hand is the sign for art.
okay.
The hand that has the yellow on the white is the sign for study. And then the black hand with the blue hand is the sign for read.
That is so
So
cool.
these are all literally signs that she uses. Um, and this is her, the way she shows the solidarity of the deaf community and
Just
how it shows. Just a little bit about Nancy is she said her parents didn't know she was deaf until she was 6 years old. But she started drawing and painting at a time of way of communicating with them because they didn't know sign language. But she grew up going to a deaf oral program in San Diego, California. So all of her childhood life, she was always interested in creating new pieces and exhibited her artwork. Everything from painting rocks and canvases, art fairs, contests, galleries,
wow.
and from childhood to high school. So then she went on to study graphic design and painting at the National Technical Institute for the Deaf in Rochester, New York.
Mm.
And then she got her master's degree in computer graphic design and painting. She
Wow.
had her very first showing at the National Gallery of Art in DC in 1979.
Wow.
And she was among 12 deaf artists at that time. Um, and since then, she still continues to produce art. Um, she was a graphic designer for over 20 years for Xerox in San Diego, but then decided computer was not for her. And
No.
she just branched out. And now she is her classic black, white. She has very bold colors, as you can tell. Um,
Yeah.
but she has done some really wonderful things. She's worked on backgrounds for movies um, and John Wayne films. So she has a very diverse background.
But
But
it
I
also,
love her colors.
I do too. I really like her paintings a lot. But one of the things in her biography that jumped out to me was when you said she was in an oral program. So wasn't taught sign for a long time then.
You will find a lot of older deaf and will have gone to school during like 60s, 70s. That was the age of oralism for the deaf community. A lot of schools were forcing deaf people to speak. So they would do speech therapy and they would punish them if they tried to sign.
But then they
So
couldn't
I
talk to each
suspect,
other.
well, they were forced to speak and you had to read lips.
Oh boy.
You had to, so what would happen is they would go to their dorms and they would sign with each other in private.
Mm.
And that's how they learned to communicate. But forcing them to be oral happened a lot.
Mm.
And that was the age of oralism in the deaf history
Mm.
because they thought you can't communicate with the outside world unless you learned how to speak. So they forced them to speak and they would fill their throats and they would do hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of speech therapy
Mm.
because that's what the uh, experts would say is the best way for them to integrate themselves into a hearing world. So they would be punished and they would literally have to sit on their hands during school.
Oh
They
my
could
gosh.
not sign,
Mm.
period. Could not sign.
But lip
So
reading must be so incredibly difficult because we have so many accents also.
it is, research shows that even when you lip read, only about 25 to 30% is caught on the lips
Mm.
because you have so many different variations. You have men with mustaches or beards, you
Mm.
have accents, you have people with a uh, cleft
Cleft lip.
lip, or with a speech slur or
Mm.
something like that. Only 25 to 30% is
Mm.
caught on your lips. So, but that was oralism, that was
Mm.
deaf history.
That's
So
so painful.
it only started transitioning to signs in the late 70s to early 80s. Um, and then it was SimCom where you sign and speak at the same time. And then eventually it is now ASL, and ASL is accepted now as a universal language.
Mm.
It wasn't that sign language didn't exist. It's just that they wouldn't
No,
support it.
sign language existed, but they would not support it
Mm.
because they thought that deaf kids needed to be integrated into a hearing world.
Mm.
So Nancy is an older, um, I'm not going to say old, but she's an older person when she was growing up during oralism.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
yeah, she
You know,
experienced that. And that's why a lot of deaf people, and you'll see her works. You can go online. She has her own website, and RIT, the Rochester Institute of Technology, has a deaf art museum
oh yeah.
and they have a lot of her paintings and her works in their museum, and you can see a lot of her work there. But um, they, she's, you'll see a lot of her work will have the eyes, the hands, because that's what they cherish.
Mm.
Yeah.
It is such a precious gift for them to be able to see the outside world um, and to sign. So that's why I wanted to show that art because it shows the signs.
Oh yeah.
Oh
And
yeah,
it
that's
was
cool.
forbidden back then.
Mm.
They could not have a sign, could not. But yes, sign language has been around for years, but they just thought that the deaf kids would never integrate in the hearing world if they were signing and nobody knew what they meant.
Mm.
That's so odd. One of my friends has children that are my kids' age, so we're talking 25 years ago when they were going to preschool. They taught the kids sign language because the kids needed something else to learn, and they weren't ready to teach them how to read and write. So they taught the
Mm.
kids sign language, and to think that this was prohibited for the people who really needed it before then, it's just abominable.
Yes. And it's also known as autism, AUDISM,
Mm.
and it's where hearing people were oppressing deaf people
Mm. Mm.
because of the fact that they could not hear.
Mm.
They had no hearing ability.
Mm.
Um, Now you'll hear a lot of people that are deaf advocates say that deaf people can do anything except hear.
Yeah.
And now we get it. But back then, they didn't.
Mm.
They thought they were doing right.
Mm.
How is a deaf child going to integrate into a hearing world? What kind of life will they have? They have to be able to speak.
Mm.
So, and really, it's funny that you say that story because when I was growing up, um, I was third grade, so probably eight. So, um, early, like 1979, 1980.
Mm.
Um, I was in a public school, and we have a school for the deaf here in the city where I grew up,
Mm.
in Wilson, North Carolina. And the school offered additional classes, and one of them was sign language. And that my mom found and said, "Oh, there's this deaf school right here. You can use that language." And she put me in that class when I was 8 years old.
Huh.
Wow.
And here I am, years later, and I'm an interpreter.
It's wonderful. That's just wonderful.
So
Well,
my
you're more than
mom
just an
knew
interpreter,
it
but
was, yeah, it was a wonderful experience. And I look back on it now and I'm thinking, wow. So, but
but let's pick up another one of the art that you gave
Oh,
us.
wow.
okay. And I found this one absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get to
Mm.
this lady. Her name was Ashley Hannah. Oh, sorry, Hannan. And she is from Valdosta, Georgia, but
Mm.
she currently lives in Tampa, Florida. She earned a bachelor's degree from graphic design at RIT as well. So RIT has really helped a lot of the deaf artists really come out. Um, but you can see this one it's called The Black Hole of Conflicted Identity.
Ah,
Mm.
And she says, growing up after having been educated in an oral deaf school again,
Mm.
after intensive speech therapy and audiology testing, she still felt incomplete.
Mm.
So her parents had a cochlear implant um, at age 6, thinking they were fixing her, but she still did not have her identity until much later. She said thousands of dollars were spent on education to perfect her listening and her speech, but it wasn't until her young adult years that she began to awaken and notice the conflict of her self esteem. And it was because of the lack of understanding of the deaf culture and the deaf world, and that it is just as functional as the hearing world.
no.
Um,
I
but she
love
was very apprehensive for a long time. But now she identifies as deaf, even though she has a cochlear implant, and this is her work. And I just thought this was beautiful because that black hole, that part in the middle, is where she's walking into, and it's full of the plants and just not really sure where she's going.
well,
The
she's got
snail at the front, it's like, oh, I'm moving, but I'm moving slow kind of thing.
Mm.
but she's got all these beautiful red roses that all have bumblebees
Oh,
on them. Most of them have bumblebees.
yes,
And
most
then
have
she's going
bees.
into the dandelions, which are both flowering and seeding at the same time. What a metaphor, flowers and seeds together.
Right. exactly. But it's a beautiful, um, beautiful example of deaf culture, deaf
A
history.
sign.
Yes. Oh, sorry. It's a beautiful, I'm sorry, didn't say, but it's a beautiful example of deaf culture, deaf history. Um,
I have to
but
say, this last one is my favorite.
Mm.
yes,
Oh, wow.
yes.
Mm.
And this one, oh, where is it?
And there you see her. I was wondering what was on her ear.
This one
That's the
is,
implant.
yeah, the implant, but you can see them signing, and that's same. So same you, same me, basically. But it says, this is of her piece, be true.
Yeah.
And she says it took her many years, maybe 3 decades, to realize that she had to be true to herself and reject the envy of being hearing or the nurture of the flaw that she had because she was deaf and emerge into something beautiful that has always been there.
Mm.
I
And the
thought
other,
that was a beautiful comment because deaf people are beautiful
oh, of
and they
course.
are amazing. And this, just seeing the roots in her hands there and then growing,
Mm.
it just, but they're both the same, whether they've got a cochlear or whether they don't. And that is a very deaf culture thing as well.
Well,
The cochlear implants were not accepted when they first came out because they were thinking, oh, the hearing people are trying to fix us. So, yeah,
do they work?
they do work. There's research to show that they work. And the younger you implant a child, and the better the language develops. But the deaf culture, the deaf community is like, we're fine the way we are.
Yeah, we're not broken.
We're not broken. We don't need to be fixed. I'm deaf. That's a part of my identity. Now, if they have that identity, then you will not see a cochlear. But you have deafness is just like um, any any other illness. It's very individualized, and
But it's not an
it could
illness.
be. It's not an illness. It's not an illness. It is an identity
Mm.
Yeah.
for many people. So
I noticed that the person on the left does not have ears at all. There's no ear.
that's right. Yeah,
But the way
she's
they're looking
she
at
represents the complete deaf people. Right.
Mm.
the love in their gaze
Mm.
is just amazing.
I thought the same thing.
Mm.
I loved it.
Mm.
So that's a little bit about deaf artists.
Mm.
And I just wanted to bring a little bit to share with you guys. So I hope you enjoyed that.
Oh my gosh, I
Yeah,
loved
very
it. I
much.
loved
Thank
it,
you.
Kate. That was so wonderful. Thank you so much.
Well, you're very welcome.
And now I have to do my little spiel. This neighborhood talk has been brought to you by our various sponsors. Please tell them thank you. And if you're interested in being a sponsor, please get in touch with us. You can go to drakeetarts.com/donate or email us at drakeetarts@gmail.com. You can also find more information about our Art Saturdays and our neighborhood talks, which this is one, or all of our other programs through our website. This and all our programs are archived on the Drake It Arts YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/at Drake It Arts. Thank you so much. This has been incredible. I love that it
Wonderful.
works.
I'm so glad you have enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
Sure.